यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। May the Almighty Shri Lord Venkateshwara, who is Sarvajnaha, Sarvavit, Sarvashaktiman, bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and the entire your family members and friends and all the creatures in the world. Harihi Om. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita, the first words of 10th chapter. Atha dashamodhyayaha vibhuti yogaha Shri Bhagavan vacha bhuja eva mahabaho shrunu me paramam vachaha yatte ham priyamanaya vakshyami hitakamyaya. Bhagavan Krishna begins the 10th chapter in the name of Vibhuti Yoga. No questions from Arjuna. Vibhuti means glory of Lord, Ishvara. The connection between the 9th and 10th is very simple. The 9th has stopped by giving the glory of Ishvara in the form of Bhakti. Now Bhakti is an eye. These two eyes becomes blind eyes. Now when you have the Bhakti with the understanding of the world is nothing but Ishvara, then your Bhakti is sophisticated by the glory of Ishvara. Your Bhakti alone is the vision. These eyes won't have the vision. Bhakti becomes the main eye. These eyes becomes secondary eyes. And glory is when you hear or listen to this 10th chapter from the mouth of Ishvara alone. At that time, through the Bhakti, the God's glory is just experienced by us. Because God is experienced in the form of I, because we have to have the identical with Ishvara's I. That's far beyond. This is the next level understanding of Ishvara. Ishvara has become the world. We have to take the first two steps from the 7th chapter, 9th chapter. In between there is one 8th chapter, but it doesn't talk about this vision, means the understanding about Ishvara. It just uses the Ishvara which is in mortal form for Upasana to get more achievements in this world and hereafter. But this 7th chapter, 9th chapter and 10th and 11th, they dwell with two aspects of Ishvara. From 13th onwards, we are going to deal with the final understanding about Ishvara. Now this is second level understanding. The first level understanding is accepting Ishvara as the Karta, the world is created. So every chapter we have to repeat this concept, because once you cross the 12th chapter, Bhagavan is not going to explain it. And this theory, the concept which cannot be explained through the words. Therefore, the Bhagavan is just holding our fingers and he is taking to explore himself. Now we are like children of him. He is just taking for a journey in which everything is explored. The exploring not outside, inside. So when he talks about his glories, every knot will open in your mind. This is what the experience of bhakti in the form of vibhuti. So this sentence, don't get confused when I say bhakti in the form of glory. So glory, the first glory is nothing but bhakti. When you are born and you are sent to the schools, you go up to university and you go for a job and you earn money, nowhere bhakti comes into the scene. Once you want to get connected with the Supreme, then you need to have a device which is the medium to communicate with Ishvara, is known as bhakti. That sophisticated bhakti is as equal to sophisticated mobile. Now bhakti becomes main glory. With bhakti we have to continue with Ishvara. So let himself explore about himself. That's what we have to begin. The first words, let me read it again. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuja Eva Mahabaho Shrunu Me Paramam Vachah Yatte Ham Priyamanaya Vakshyami Hita Kamyaya. He himself says, Hey Mahabaho, Mahantam Bahu Yasya Saha. One who has the gigantic shoulder. And this one word must be understood. Ajanu Bahu means this hand up to the thigh. Mahabahu means the person, one who can take lots of responsibility. Arjuna was the one. He can fight single-handedly, he can fight with the mass army. Therefore, Mahabaho Bhuya eva paramam me vachaha shrunu. Again, you listen to my supreme words. What is their supreme words? Is there any words? Is it got a supreme word and so down words are inferior words? No. The content matter is supreme. Therefore, you just listen to me, the content which is supreme. The same thing he continues from the last chapter. In the last chapter, in the last verse, he gave 5 kinds of aspects of the bhakti. That 5 kinds of aspects have been told there, but now practically he is going to take into a journey. This journey is known as Vibhuti Darshanam. Or Vibhuti Darshanam means experiencing, exploring the glory of God. That's what he says. So this is higher nature of my Swarupa that I am going to reveal. Just listen to me carefully. Te priyamanaya hitakamyaya aham vakshyami. For your sake, for your welfare, for your good growth in the spiritual aspects, I am going to reveal it. That's all. Now in this place you have to realize one thing. The word Priyamanaya indicates now God has become so kind enough with the disciple because who is able to continuously listen and be focused and who is also understanding the things. A Vedanta Guru, when Shishya is receiving everything and assimilating, he becomes very happy. The Krishna might have become very happy because of Arjuna's behavior. The gesture of Arjuna, it seems to be very positive, very receptive. Therefore, Krishna says, Priyamanaya, who is receiving everything. I myself, yes, initiating the journey of the glory of mine. He says, next words, Name vidossuraganaha prabhavam nama harshayaha aham adirhi devanam Maharshidancha sarvashaha. Arjuna, you don't think this journey is the normal one. The normal journey you can plan, and you can plan for even for destination. You can set your own vehicle. You can just travel with your own understanding. For example, one of my gurus, they have their own group. Means their fellow friend sannyasis, they are also. So one of my guru who has got two more friends of him, so all of them are sannyasis. They go once in a year to have a Bharat Darshanam. I wonder, what is to see Bharat Darshanam? One day I asked him, what is that meaning, Bharat Darshanam? Then Swamiji said, you study Bhagavad Gita. At that time I was about to begin 3rd chapter. Swamiji said, you conclude the Bhagavad Gita, you will come to know. When we go to a temple, so there are, you might have gone to Rameshwaram, you might have gone to Badri, Kedar, Vaishnav Devi, or you might have gone to Jyotirlingas and 108 Vaishnava Sthalas. So all of them, so you can have a nice experience. But if you go with a proper attitude, with a proper person who could explain about the temples and the reality, the tattva behind the temples, then you can see more than that. So once, the last year I took people to Badrinath. On the way, whatever the temples are there, I asked them to get down. I told about those all temples, and I took them to Badrinath. In the Badrinath also so many things are there, and I explained about the temple, how that temple was constructed and what is the motto. A temple, how it should be, it would be, it has to be, everything I explained to them. So they become amazed because they have not heard like this kind of explanation. And I gave quotation from Shastra. Even I gave many quotations from Bhagavad Gita, and especially in the 10th chapter, I gave lots of examples. And they have, more understanding. One of them, he told, I have been coming to this Badrinath so many years, I think more than 25 times. This time, you open my eyes. That's what he meant. In the same way, the journey, when you go to Bharat Darshan, you go with proper understanding, proper detail of those places. You may wonder. You go for the world tour and you go to the places in India, even a small temple will have lots of glory because of the Murti. Have you heard about Panduranga, Vitthal? That Vitthal, it has got lots of glory. In the same way, every deity in whole India. There are so many places for Vaishnavas, so many places for Shaivas, so many places for Shaktas, and so many places for even Ganapatis. In Maharashtra, there is Ashta Ganapati, 8 Ganapatis. The temples are looking very simple but very powerful temples. In South also, in Andhra, so many places. So recently I went to Kalahasti while coming back from Tirumala. So it's a beautiful temple. How it is constructed very nicely. In those days, not now. Like Tirumala, so now that's all 7 mountains have become temple. It's nothing but temple. That's what, exploring ourselves. Bhagavan says here, my nature is not understood by even celestial beings. Sura Ganaha, even the gods, mortal gods, are not able to understand my glory. This is first message to Arjuna. Now he come to very serious condition. My God. Then, Prabhavam na Maharshayaha. My glory. Prabhava means again glory. So this my Prabhavam means glory of my origin. Bhagavan's origin itself a glory. Prabhavaha means utpatti. That origin, my glory of origin is not understood by Suraganaha, celestial beings, and Maharushayaha. Why? Why they have not understood? Why? Because I am the originate place for all of them. Devanam Maharushinam cha sarvashaha aham adihi. How simple this shloka is to understand. But I tell you, this verse is the essence of whole chapter. Because Bhagavan is beyond perception. The nature of Bhagavan is beyond perception for even Devas. But a human being, you have chance. Then we have to realize the importance of us. Because human body has got a plus point through which you can attain moksha here alone. He says, my para prakriti and my apara prakriti both are mixed. Therefore, the people are not aware which is real one. And they are not able to see my origin because I am the elder. I am the Adihi. From all aspects, Srishti means it's because of me. This is understanding. Therefore, he says, I am Upadana Karana. I am Nimitta Karana. I am both. We have seen Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana Ishvaraha. We learnt in the 7th chapter, I told you. I gave the example of a spider. Spider becomes the cause, material cause and the intelligent cause, both to that net. The web is created by the spider alone. Spider becomes both cause. Anything that you want to create in this world, you need to have two kinds of causes. The reasons that is known as material cause, intelligent cause. So now Ishvara says, I am the both causes for everything. Next words. Yo mam ajamanadincha veti lokamaheshwaram asammodhas samartyeshu sarva papai pramuchyate. How can I be understood? Bhagavan himself, he continues. Actually, these 3 verses, Bhagavan introduces the introductions. So he gives a short introduction by introducing what is the content it's going to be. From 4 to 7, he is going to talk about Ishvara Swarupam again in different manner. Now, Ishvara Swarupam means what? Glory of Ishvara. It's going to be different than the last chapter. And the last chapter was very different than to last chapter. So that's how, So every chapter elevates us. But especially this chapter, you have to travel with Ishvara. So that's what, there is a method to even understand the glory of Ishvara. He says now, Yaha, one who, Mam Ajam Anadim Chaveti, one who realizes me as I am to be unborn, as I am who doesn't have Adi, the beginning, as I am who is the Lord of entire creation. One who understands in these 3 aspects, that person who is nothing but non-deluded one. These words, they have inner meaning that also we see right now. Samarthyeshu sarva papai pramuchyate. He becomes special. He gets rid from all sin and he also reaches me. That's all the meaning. Direct meaning is being completed. Ajam mam yahaveti. One who understands me as an unborn person. Who says? Krishna says. It means what? One who understands me through scriptures as the Para Prakriti. Ajam. So that which is avyaktam, formless, and that which is the base of everything. You should remember the last chapter which explained a lot about this Swarupa. Anadi means I don't have any cause. I'm the beginning. I don't have any beginning. That's what he said, no? Pita hamasya jagataha mata dhata pitamaha. I'm the father, I'm the grandfather, fatherless father. I don't have any cause for me, I am the cause. Then also he said, Loka Maheshwaram, I am the creator, I am the Jagad Adhishthatri, I am the Jagad Adhishthata. So I am everything. Asammudaha, the person one who is freed from Maya, the person one who is not in the hand of Maya's Rajoguna and Tamoguna, who is in the hand of Sattva Maya. Mahatmanastu mam partha. So that's you have to remember from last chapter. Asammudaha, non-deluded person. Martyeshu sarva papai pramuchyate. That person is liberated from all the sin. That's all. The meaning is over. From all papai means he is liberated. He gets me alone. A simple meaning. The meaning which is very similar to the last chapter. Because this is the continuation. So God is slowly making us to realize more. Next verse. Buddhir jnanam mohaha kshama satyam damashamaha sukham dukkham bhavo bhavaha bhayam cha bhayam eva cha. Bhagavan Krishna, he just explaining his Swarupa in different way. In the last two chapters, I mean 7th and 9th, it explained from the philosophical way. Now he is just exploring himself according to the level of our understanding, level of our buddhi. What I mean to say, so he is implying his glories so that we could understand his glory, and through understanding his glory we can reach to the philosophical level. That's what is understanding is. Because he considers all of us are like a children, therefore he says, Buddhihi jnanam asammohaha kshama satyam damaha shamaha sukham dukkham bhavaha abhavaha bhayam cha abhayam evacha. All of them are noun. They symbolizes something. What is that? The first, buddhihi. Now he didn't say anything, just he just puts the old name. Buddhihi means the subtle faculty of a human being. And there are two kinds of buddhi, vyashti buddhi, samashti buddhi. Both I am. Okay, so he has not used the word, he will use later on. Now he says the buddhi, whether it is individual or collective, both is me. So buddhi is our experience. Why Bhagavan says in the beginning itself buddhi? You should think that's what the buddhi is. So buddhi is me, man, your buddhi, and your relatives' buddhi. The buddhi means the intellect of all human being, all creatures. Everything is buddhi alone. In the beginning itself, God has plucked your individuality. Because our individuality is experienced where? In the buddhi alone. Buddhi is our main medium. We experience ourselves. If I ask you, are you there? Yes, I am. That is, I am comes where? In the buddhi. The buddhi alone does all things. In the buddhi alone, every thought takes place. In the buddhi alone, all emotional things are taking place. That buddhi is me. This is a short meaning. Jnanam, the knowledge which take place in the buddhi. Could you understand? The knowledge where it takes place, on the head, on the liver, or in the heart, or in the lungs, where knowledge take place. Knowledge take place. The buddhi is not originating the knowledge. Knowledge is taking place. That knowledge is me. Whether it is material knowledge, whether it is spiritual knowledge, or any knowledge in the world, knowledge about any object, knowledge about the objects which are beyond the earth. Then the next word, asammohaha. Asammoha means clarity. The mental clarity is me. It has got one more meaning. Asammohaha buddhi is me. Asammohaha jnanam is me. So one of my acharyas says, the knowledge that which doesn't delude, it's me. But the proper, this common understanding is the knowledge which deludes. The knowledge which doesn't delude both is Ishvara. Kshama. Kshama means it's a kind of, enduring the things. Endurance is me. Satyam, it's me. Satyam has got two levels. Satyam means Vak Satyam is there. Ritam is there. There are two kinds of Satyams. So what exists is Satyam. The Brahman is Satyam. And this Maya also a kind of Satyam. The Satyam is me. Damaha is me. Damaha means Indriya Nigraha. These are all very subtle meaning that we will see elaborately. Damaha means Indriya Nigraham, the control of the sense organs. Controlling the organs are called Damaha. Controlling the mind is known as Shamaha. Both are me. Sukham. There are two kinds of happiness. Limited happiness, unlimited happiness. Both of them are me. Sadness is nothing but me. Because there are nature among the people who want to cry always. They cry. If you help them, they will cry. If something happened bad, they will cry. If something happens good, they also cry for that. Sukham, Dukkham, both is nothing but me. Bhavaha, Abhavaha, exist and absence, both of me. Then Bhayam, fear, Abhayam, non-fear. Abhayam means, just accepting, giving shelter to the people. But here, Abhayam means the courageousness is me. That's all. The verse is completed. The next verse, let us read. But after reading few verses, we will come back to understand this verse a little bit more. Ahimsa samata tushtihi tapodanam yasho yashaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam matta eva prathak vidhaha. Ahimsa means non-violence. Observing non-violence. Samata means equanimity. So these words we will continue from the next episode in the next session more clearly and elaborately. Harihi Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.